The best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Happy KSL Give-a-thon Day, everybody. It has become basically it's become its own holiday, I feel like, in this building. It's a cool thing because we're able to sit down and chat with not just patients that come into Primary Children's Hospital and whose families have been affected by the care that you get at one of these at a place that we are so blessed to have in our community, and now is expanding. It just keeps expanding and getting better. And to have the kids be top of mind, to have the kids be the most important thing that we focus on in all this is the biggest part of it. We invite you to become a Primary Children's Hospital miracle maker, smile maker. We've had all different names for it over the years, but I think smile maker is the most appropriate one, and it's for the one that we use. It's when we ask people to be a part of this giving process on an ongoing basis. Go to kslkids.com and become a smile maker and make that monthly donation and make a huge impact in the community. JJ, our program brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. We're going to get with Steve Bartle. He's our Ute insider for KSLSports.com. Nice enough to take part of his June as he's like, he's got a lot of work he's got going on, but like we bother him in the middle of a time where we're trying to all kind of wrap our brains around.
He's got really important things to do, and we're annoying him.
And listen,
in June,
and I'm okay with that. All right,
he's got to get ready for camp.
I'll absolutely, yeah, I know.
Big 12 Media Days are a month away.
Big 12 Media Days are coming up, so let's get this thing going. Let's get it kicked off with the cut. Top of the hour. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show brought to you by an incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram. It is the Doug Smith family of dealerships, also now welcoming the Mitsubishi brand to the fold. So there you go, in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Steve Bartle, Ute insider for KSLSports.com. Steve, we jest. You are one of those bust your butt types all year long. We love having you on the program, man. And I'll tell you, football adding its non-conference schedule, getting it totally dialed up. You've got Nevada and Wisconsin for that 2028 slate. I can't remember who the third team was. We were just talking about
Utah Tech.
Oh, it's Utah Tech. So the Blazers also. Are they going down to St. George, JJ, to play?
I'm sure it was a home-and-home arrangement.
All right. Okay, perfect. Steve, first of all, welcome to the program, man. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, no problem, fellas. Appreciate you having me on, as always. It's always good to be on with you guys.
As you kind of look at adding another team, Nevada, every non-conference add to a schedule gets scrutinized nowadays, right? It's like whether or not, and you have it go two ways. It's like, hey, you better pick teams that are worthy enough to be on your schedule, but like not too tough, because you don't want too tough, because what's that going to look like? Where is it now when it comes to how thoughtful Mark Harlan is and the football program to what teams they want on a schedule in the out-of-conference side of things?
Yeah, I think it's super important. With the game that was announced today with Nevada being added to that 2028 schedule, that really is sort of an ideal, opponent to add to that non-conference slate. As you guys pointed out, they're going to start that season with Utah Tech, and then now they'll have Nevada in week 2 before they prepare for their week 3 matchup, which is going to be against Big Ten's Wisconsin Badgers on the road. So, I think like that was a really great addition to that schedule. And, it's going to be interesting with their future schedules. With the announcement today that they added Nevada, I took a look at some of their inventory that they've got with their future schedules. And, with the move to the Big 12, it's opened up a lot of non-conference, slots where previously they had Houston as a non-conference game and BYU as a non-conference game. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mark Harlan approaches that, because they do have a lot of openings, particularly that 2027 season. this year's set, next year's set, but that 2027 season, they're going to open up with Miami down in Las Vegas, and that's the only non-conference game they've got. So I think we'll learn a lot more about, Harlan and Kyle Whittingham and Utah's Brain Trust in terms of how they want to approach their non-conference scheduling, as particularly with that 2027 season, because as we're seeing right now, with all the talk of college football playoff and what that's going to look like, and everybody outside of Tony Petitti in the Big Ten wanting that 5+11, the SEC they'll go with whatever because they'll know they'll get 4, 5, 6 teams in with whatever format it's going to be. But the importance having good non-conference games is going to be more and more important as we figure out what this playoff is going to actually be, and the format is what that's going to be. So it's going to be important to find a good balance between having really good non-conference games amongst the Power Four, but also giving these teams each season opportunities against opponents that allow you to ramp up or to get ready for bigger games.
Steve, not only do you cover the sport and cover it well, but you also enjoy watching the sport, as we all do, and you want to see what's best for college football. And as you look at this college football playoff situation, as they try to determine what the best format is, what is your opinion on that? I'd be curious to know what you feel is the best college football playoff format. And what of the ideas have you heard? Do you like, not like? What are some of the things you'd like to see happen?
Yeah, I think, with the college football playoff and all the discussion, I think it's inevitable that we're going to get to a 16-team playoff. And so, with that in mind, I like the 5+11, just have it at large, and whatever the top 16 teams are, that's who should be in the college football playoff. We want the best teams crowned each and every season. And the playoff has become sort of a pageantry where it's almost, a popularity contest and who's going to get the most eyeballs, what's going to be the biggest TV draw. I prefer, having the best teams play it out. And I think that's the best format. So whatever allows us to get to that, that's the format that I'm in favor of. And the closest thing to that is the 5+11, which I think is good because these power conference games and those 5 spots, it's tough going through your conference schedules and coming out on top. So I do think it's important to still honor the conference, how tough it is to win your conference, and then getting the remaining 11 teams on the field in that format, I think is my preferred method if I had a say in the matter.
Well, it feels like no one has a say in the matter except for the SEC and the Big Ten. And even those guys right now are not necessarily on the same page, and so obviously nothing gets done when that's happening. Speaking of nothing getting done, the House and the committee getting together trying to figure this thing out and the settlement stuff, it doesn't seem like anything's getting done anytime soon. How is that going to affect the idea of the 105 man roster and scholarships for this fall? Will that number possibly be looked at and go, hey, look, we don't have a settlement number, so we're going to make sure we're going to keep these numbers or extend or make these numbers a little bit bigger here for the fall? Have you heard talk about whether or not if that thing doesn't go through, is that 105 number going to be are they going to stick to that thing? Or is it going to be something that they extend? Obviously, a lot of coaches are trying to figure out how to get more than just 105.
Yeah, it's a bit of a juggling act right now, and I think in talking to people, it sounds like there's a genuine belief that they're going to be able to grandfather in some of these numbers, which I think alleviates some of the stress and need to get down to the 105. So, but at the same time, we'll see. It still has to be approved, and that's sort of the situation we're in. Is we don't know for sure what's going to happen and what it's going to look like. But, the good thing here is I think, teams took, most programs took a patient approach where, they didn't, make certain cuts, I guess you could say, call it, after spring ball, where they still have the majority of the team that they had during spring ball. Most programs approached this with the mindset that they didn't have to get down to the 105 until, I think it's week one officially that they had to get down to that 105, even if it was approved with the 105 being that number. But now with it being grandfathered in, we'll see what that actually looks like and what sort of, how checkpoints they have to get to over the coming years. But I think for the most part, programs have taken a patient approach in letting this play out. And I think that served them well, where they haven't made a lot of decisions on players where they would then have to go back to them and start basically recruiting them back to the program, essentially. So that's sort of been, where a lot of programs are at with this whole thing. And, once this settlement is finalized, which, beyond the 105, I mean, there's so much that hinges on this settlement that,
right.
There's just a lot that has to come with that. So we'll see. But I think that was, the biggest talking point at the Big 12 spring meetings last week was, the settlement. And it seems like, from Bill Self to Mark Harlan to, some of the other coaches that we talked to, that was the number one talking point was the pending approval of that settlement. And I think everybody is waiting on it sort of impatiently on its approval.
Switching gears real quick to college basketball, and Alex Jensen was at the Big 12 meetings last week, and KSL Sports had a chance to catch up with him. You wrote about some of the stuff that he said, and now that Alex Jensen has had a couple of months to dig into this job, what are some of the things that he talked about and shared? What are some of the things that he's done that are new with the program? Where are things at right now as he tries to rebuild that thing?
Yeah, the big thing that he talked about throughout that interview was just that, he's learning a lot as, he's coming to the college level and learning all of the responsibilities that are going to be on him as the head coach of a college basketball program. Part of that is, he and his staff are going to be responsible for scheduling. And Mark Harlan talked about it in his interview that, with Alex and Wes Wilcox and his staff, being so new to this, that, Harlan has stepped in and sort of helped the process along with finishing out their schedule. So that's part of the learning process for Alex. And, Harlan shared that they've got some, scheduling news coming here in the near future, which will be interesting. They only have a few games left that they have to schedule in their non-conference. So we'll see what that looks like. And then, Alex talked about, sort of his thought process with putting the roster together. And, the big point of emphasis for him, we get caught up so much in talking about, players and skill sets and what coaches are looking for. And when he was asked about what was the big priority in the players that he targeted, he talked about, players that have multiple years of experience and wanting guys that wanted to be at Utah and wanting to help rebuild the program and build, that program back up from ground zero. And I thought that was really interesting. And when you look at the players that he's brought in, there's a few seniors, but most of these guys have multiple years of eligibility remaining and come to Utah with good connections to Alex through other people in the NBA. Ja'Kai Howard was arguably the most impressive transfer addition that they brought in. He was a former top 50 recruit, signed with Auburn, hit the transfer portal, and Alex Jensen had a lot of NBA scouts and talent evaluators recommend Ja'Kai as a player that he should target and bring in, because there's a lot of NBA guys that see his potential and being a potential NBA guy. And then there's other guys, Seydou Traore and Elijah Moore, that came at recommendation of one of his staff members on the Dallas staff, Shamgod, was a big help in recruiting Elijah Moore and Seydou Traore to Utah. So, those are some of the things that Alex talked about, and really for him, it's just a learning process. And then, he talked about pretty soon they're going to be getting the guys on campus here. Most of them, I shouldn't say most of them, but a handful of them are already on campus. The rest will get up on the hill here in the coming days, and they'll start practices, which is what he's definitely looking forward to.
Obviously, it goes straight from the NBA over to the Big 12 business meetings, and it's like, hey, tell us everything you're going to do to change this program. Microphone in his face, and it's like, oh boy, yeah. Well, we got a lot of work to do, but I think that I think Utah fans are hopeful when they see, like, look, this is a guy who has a tie to the program, has the ability to coach guys at the NBA level, and is willing to come to Utah. Like, that's a huge thing. We were talking about that yesterday, JJ.
Utah fans are watching what BYU's been building. They're like, we can do that too. We want to do that too. And, Steve, I think that matters is Utah fans are seeing that success and like, we want some of that too. We can do that at Utah. We've done it before.
Yeah, it's been interesting with, coming into the Big 12, which is, a storied basketball conference, obviously, with, Kansas being in the league, Texas Tech and Baylor, having either won a national championship or been in the national title game very recently. This is a big-time basketball conference. And, in the Pac-12, it was primarily football, and you could see that across the sport. But I think coming into the Big 12, it's opened up, eyes, and I think it's kind of reignited a lot of passion for the basketball program. And I think, it'll be interesting with Alex in year one. He's talked a lot and kind of hinted at it that, year one is going to be a little bit different than what the rest of his tenure is going to look like. This is going to be a year where he is laying the foundation of his program. There's going to be a lot of growing pains. There's going to be a lot of, difficulties that they're going to have to work through and learn and overcome. And, but there's a lot of excitement about the future and what that's going to look like. I think there's, a big point of emphasis in recruiting the top talent to Utah. There's a greater point of emphasis with that, with this new staff. And I think 2026, you're going to see Utah involved with a number of blue chip prospects that we haven't seen them go after in recent years. So I think there is a lot of excitement. And, in order to do that, you have to have the support and the backing of your fan base and of your boosters and supporters, because recruiting at that level, it takes big financial commitments. And I think Utah is getting that, and why there's so much excitement for the program in the future under Alex Jensen.
Steve Bartle, he's our Ute insider for KSLSports.com. Steve, as usual, thanks for hanging out with us, man. We appreciate it. And anything that breaks, of course, we'll call you and have you fix it.
Sounds good, fellas. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Steve.
Go. Steve Bartle, everybody. Appreciate him taking some extra time for us. We'll take the break here. We'll come back. We've got more to go. Stay with us. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Once again, it's that time of year. We're celebrating the Give-a-thon for Primary Children's Hospital. We're asking you to give whatever you can, what little or big donation you can make. Today is the day to do it. 801 KSL Kids, that's 801-575-5437, or KSLkids.com. Alex, this is something we're very passionate about, and we love Primary Children's Hospital. We've had to use Primary Children's Hospital in the past number of times, and they've always been there for our families, and so we know how important it is, and they need your help right now.
Yeah. Become a Smile Maker today. Go to KSLkids.com. Click on the link there and donate now. Every penny goes to the kids and their care directly. No administrative fees, none of that stuff. It goes straight to being able to help the kids who need the most help, and that is the people who will never be turned away, regardless of being able to pay or not. they're able to do it with that. So, JJ, well, I got my pink juice over here.
Pink juice?
Oh, yeah. I need a little pick-me-up, so I got me some Gatorade Zero. This is what I like is when there's like a thing going on, other people pay for our snacks and our drinks.
Yeah.
Love it.
Got to sneak those in. I appreciate you going with the zero, too.
Oh, I'm
Sticking
that
with
guy.
the plan.
I'm that guy.
Zero sugar, baby.
I don't think I've had and did you see that BYU just had a study that came out and said drinking calories is worse than eating them? I'm like, of course it is.
Yeah.
I will.
Makes sense.
My entire life has been trying to figure out. I don't think I have drank a calorie in decades now at this point. Everything is zero and no sugar in my life. That's the way that it is. Because even when I was at my chubbiest, I was like, give me a diet soda because I'm trying to watch my figure. You know what I mean? Like, I would tell myself.
I had 5 donuts. I better not drink a sugar soda.
Well, yeah, I want to upsize it, but make it a Coke Zero. That was like the bad guy who was eating all of his calories, drinking all of his calories. All right, JJ, next up here is I found this list of, and what it was is basically a fully compiled. We love the way too early lists.
Oh, yeah.
But this way too early list of all the different rankings that are compiled into one. And I thought, it's interesting now that we've been talking about this. Now more than ever has it felt like it has been just an insane battle between the conferences. It's less about whether or not BYU or Utah can be relevant or the Group of 5 champion can be a part of the conversation. It's about, okay, where are your teams in the Big 12 and the ACC compared to the SEC and the Big 10? So a way too early list of all the different preseason rankings compiled and averaged out. Here's what we've got. Let me roll this top 25 out for you. Tell me if it's and I'll start from the very top here at 25. I say the bottom at 25. Louisville at 25. Oklahoma for no reason at all, but with all the different rankings, they're as high as 19 in one of the preseason rankings.
Well, John Mateer is going to save them. So.
Oh, yeah. And Brent Venables, no, this is his year as a head coach. This
Adding
is
a quarterback from Washington State is going to get Oklahoma over the hump.
I don't totally disagree with the logic because we're kind of doing that same thing with Utah, right, a little bit. However,
Utah's not in this top 25, are they?
No, and that's what I was going to say is that like most of the time in a Utah defense and a Utah head coach and all the things that go along with why I don't understand why a team like Utah, just because of last year, who, by the way, the Oklahoma Sooners were a 6-7 team, right?
They had a losing season last year.
So it doesn't matter because it's Oklahoma and they'll be in that conversation. The same way that Texas A&M, who's 23rd, is just inexplicably always in that top 25, as are the Tennessee Volunteers. Now, Tennessee at least has a semi-recent history of being in the top 10. And I don't hate their head coach. I think Heupel does a good job. And I think that I think that this is, I know that their quarterback left and he's going to UCLA, but I don't think that necessarily matters. That's fine. Here's your first Big 12 team, the Texas Tech Red Raiders at 21, which you and I will both agree that it is going to be a massively huge deal to have a team like Texas Tech. But I think that Texas Tech is way underrated. Am I wrong?
We might be overrating them because of how they did in the portal and how much money they're spending, but we could also be wrong on that. And the fact that they're bringing in a lot of these really talented 4-star guys is exactly what they need to get over the hump. Texas Tech's been a very solid program for a long time. But with these additions, maybe this is the year that they take that leap.
I think it's what's underrated is how much money they've been pumping into everything.
Right.
Like they are just throwing money. They're the new Texas A&M, it feels like, down there. And these Texas schools just keep piling up, and they have all these wins, and they're stealing everybody from everybody else, and so that's a big deal. The SMU Mustangs, speaking of teams with a lot of money, is I think this is a team that did really well last year. They overperformed, I think. They started off a little bit slow. They obviously BYU beat them early in the season in that out-of-conference schedule. I'm interested to see what they're going to do again, but that's fine. Who knows what that success is going to bring. Year 2 of the ACC for them might be a gut punch, but year 1 was walking the friggin' park compared to what we thought was going to be happening. the SEC also represented by Ole Miss at 18. How do you replace Jackson Dart? I don't know. But Lane Kiffin, again, is one of those guys that I'm okay betting on. He seems to have success kind of with whomever is in that backfield for him. The next team for the Big 12 is Iowa State at 17. 16 is the Kansas State Wildcats. 15 are the Michigan Wolverines. 14 is South Carolina, who has been kind of this upstart. 13 is the Florida Gators, who, again, have been underperforming compared to with what they should be doing. But they had a nice swing at the end of the year. They won 5 games in a row. That's why they're in the low teens in the ranking.
And everybody likes their quarterback.
And everybody
likes a world of difference.
Huge difference. Now, here's where it gets interesting because BYU is at 12 and Arizona State is at 11. I frankly think Arizona State you might see take a big fall and maybe you replace them with a Texas Tech type team there. But fine. You've got a team that has its quarterback back, which that's a big deal.
The Sam Leavitt Jordan Tyson combo could be huge for them.
And Kenny Dillingham is going to be there for the next 2 decades if he
right.
can, right? I mean that's what he wants.
But what was the Cam Scadaboo effect, and just how important was he to what they were doing?
Yeah.
How do they do without a running back that's that dynamic and that productive? I mean, a lot of pressure is going to be on Sam Leavitt. He didn't have that pressure last year. How does he respond to that pressure this year?
I do think that obviously one of the big lines in the BYU write-up is quarterback Jake Retzlaff's situation is worth monitoring as the season approaches. That's a huge understatement. That's a huge understatement. But here's what they did say is the Cougars' the Cougars' bread will be buttered on defense this fall. Thanks to the return of several impact starters, Kalani Sitake has 3 seasons of 10 or more wins since 2020. That's not to be forgotten. He is excelling right now and overperforming, I think, compared to what people thought timeline-wise. I think you throw timelines out. Like, people have just the era of the transfer portal and of the money that can be paid to recruits and players and blah, blah, blah. You're skipping to the front of the line in a lot of cases, and BYU's been able to do that as well. Obviously, the Jake Retzlaff situation has to be looked at.
What I'll say before we move on, I think that what they said here is actually there's a lot of truth to it. I think BYU is so much more than Jake Retzlaff, and if Jake can't play, it's not the end of the world. They just got to find somebody that's productive at that quarterback spot that takes care of the football. They've got the defense, and they got the support around him to help him. We'll see how that offensive line develops, but if Jake can't play, it's not the end of the world.
Let me
BYU.
give you the top 10, and then you tell me if you notice anything that catches your eye here. Illinois 10, Alabama 9, LSU 8, Oregon 7, Notre Dame 6, Georgia 5. Your top 4 is Clemson, Penn State, Texas, and number 1 is the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Why is Clemson so overrated?
Clemson is at 4, by the way, which means that the aggregate that they have, and some of these, they have them as high as 3. I've seen some people only put them as low as 9. They are a top 10 team according to every stinking pollster who's out there right now, or people putting together these way too early polls. I don't get it. The thing that also stands out to me is that they conveniently put both of the highest-rated Big 12 teams right outside the top 10.
If Georgia and Clemson played week 1, who wins that game?
It would be similar to what I think we saw from Oregon a couple of years ago.
So why in the world is this top 25 got Clemson
Georgia
ahead
4.
of Georgia?
No idea.
And if that's a composite of a bunch of other places, like somebody's got to readjust that. I mean, have we completely lost respect for the juggernaut that is Georgia? I mean, what are we doing? Like, I get Clemson top 10, Cade Klubnik, great quarterback.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
You can convince me of that. Top 5 ahead of Georgia, ahead of a Notre Dame team that was in the national championship game last year, ahead of Oregon? No way. No way.
I was going to say, if you're going to have an overrated team like Clemson, you got to have an overrated quarterback to represent that team, and that's Cade Klubnik.
Both.
So there you go.
It's the Dabo way.
It's the Dabo.
And
the
LSU
Dabo
also. Everybody wants to. I don't know, that LSU brand is strong, but I'm not buying them as a top 10 team yet either.
Yeah. Hey, our Hercules Hero of the Week is something we love to do. That's where we honor our awesome sports volunteers, the youth sports volunteers in your community. Tomorrow we're going to have our winner, but we nominate those winners with a nomination at kslsports.com/contest. You can nominate them. If you have somebody in your mind who's an awesome youth sports volunteer in your neck of the woods, go to kslsports.com/contest, nominate that person. They'll win a prize from Hercules First Federal Credit Union, and Beehive Meals, who bring you the Hercules Hero of the Week program. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more right around the corner. I've got a top 10 list for JJ and for our producer, Alex, who has been just absolutely dynamite recently, just putting together win on win, has been helping out JJ like crazy with these top 10s. That's a joke. Stay with us. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The biggest name. You're locked into JJ and Alex with the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You know what's funny is when you actually hear the real Blue Oyster Cult, and you think, they actually do need more cowbell.
Oh, 100%.
Like, you look at it and you go, you know what? I know for the skit they were adding way more cowbell, but now I can't not hear it. It needs it. And so, legendary producers aside, just from an average person listening, you definitely needed more cowbell. There's a reason
I think
that this
Jane
is the thing.
Frankel was way before his time.
Frankel. I got a fever. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know if Christopher Walken is a good actor at this point. Like, he's just become a character in himself, and I know he's legendary, but like, I don't know sometimes if he was even a.
There's nobody like him.
He's still with us, right?
He's one of one.
He's still with us, right?
Do not kill Sir Christopher Walken. I don't even know if he's been knighted.
Sir knighted.
That's the kind of respect I have.
He's from
for
LA.
Christopher Walken.
I'm Sir Christopher Walken.
No, it's
All right,
like, yeah,
fine.
Like, well,
You can make him sir.
Yeah, sure.
You just make anybody sir who you think is important. Come on, man. JJ, I've got a top 10
JJ said
for you.
so.
Our top 10 is of fame. I require JJ or our producer Alex to chime in. I have not previously shown you the envelope of what the top 10 for today is, right?
No, I never do.
And Alex doesn't know, and even if he did know, he probably still wouldn't help out.
The same firm that handled the NBA lottery is handling the
yeah,
top
what is
10.
It? It's usually like it's one of those accountancy firms.
Deloitte
Deutsch
or something. I don't even know what they're. One of those.
No, it's like
hoity-toity
yeah.
law firm.
Yeah, I got
accounting
you.
firms.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this one's an interesting one
Marin
because
thinks we're crazy. She's listening to us right now. What a
Marin,
bunch of weirdos.
Bear with us.
What kind of weird show is this?
This is what we do every day in the almost 5 o'clock hour. We get to our top 10. So without further ado, fire up the timer here because I'm asking for the
all right, here we go.
Last 10 Stanley Cup champions, JJ.
Oh, wow.
Okay. The finals start up tonight, so you got to figure this thing out. Give me the last 10 champions starting now.
Florida Panthers,
Ding.
Vegas Golden Knights,
Ding.
Tampa Bay Lightning,
Ding.
Chicago Blackhawks,
Ding.
Los Angeles Kings. The Kings now? When was the last one? Probably 14? Oh, I missed
Just
it.
outside. Just
oh,
outside.
Oh, boy. Panic time. Panic time. Oh, my goodness. How am I having a blank right now?
Brant's got you at 4.
Washington Capitals.
Ding.
Who else? Not the Carolina Hurricanes. No, not the Dallas Stars. Colorado Avalanche. They won like 2022,
Ding.
right? Okay. Got that one. Who am I missing now? Pittsburgh Penguins.
Ding.
Penguins. Who else? Boston Bruins. No. No, that didn't happen.
Are the Rangers just outside? I think it was
Yeah,
14.
the Rangers was 94 the last
Rangers
time.
are way outside. That was the
Can't
worst
go with the
answer I've
Islanders
heard
either.
today.
No, they won in
it's not
14.
Minnesota. St. Louis Blues. St. Louis Blues 2019.
Ding.
Who else? Who am I missing?
The Stars.
All right.
Who'd I
you guys
miss?
ready for it? Your Stanley Cup
Jay
champions.
Stevens right now is
I know,
screaming
he's
at
just
me
yelling.
over my phone.
You actually got most of them. How many did he end up with? 8? Okay.
Okay.
Panthers, Knights, Avalanche, which I was surprised it took you a minute, but you got it. The Lightning, the
Back to
Blues, the Capitals. You forgot.
No, I got the Capitals.
Oh, you got Capitals.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did.
The Penguins, the Blackhawks. No, I think you got everybody then. You got everybody.
Did I get all 10?
Yeah, you got all 10.
Hey!
Yeah. It's only because you got 8 teams, but there were 2 repeats in there. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, when did the Stars win it? What did you say?
It's been a long
Hold on,
time.
our
The
producer-
Kings are recent,
I know.
but
Our
probably
producer
outside
Alex-
of that
Look, man,
10-year
I just
window.
started
Our
naming
producer
random
Alex-
teams to help JJ
Our
out.
producer
Okay,
Alex
I'm trying to
needs
pull my weight here.
respond to saying, what did you say? The Rangers? They won it in 14, didn't they? No.
1914?
I don't. No, they did not.
Oh,
The Rangers won it
2014.
in 1994. That was the last time.
Yeah,
that the
that wild
Rangers won
sports
the-
year, as we remember, with OJ
But
and everything.
great contribution by Alex again today. As another championship.
A 10 out of 10 is rare for me. I'll take it.
We are here, of course, for the KSL Give-a-thon. It is Another year for us to be able to chat about this. This is now my 21st Give-a-thon. I am loving being a part of this because every year it's like one of my favorite days to come to the office. And one of the favorite things we get to do is actually chat with former patients and chat with people who are a part of that primary children's family. We're asking people to become smile makers by going to kslkids.com, making that donation today. Go to kslkids.com. Make a donation, become a smile maker, or you can dial it up and get our volunteers going as well on the phone, 801-575-5437. That's 801-KSL-KIDS. Marin Johnson's joining us here. Marin, you're one of these former patients that's joining us here.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about what you love the most about Primary Children's Hospital. For me, chatting with so many kids over the years, and they're like, I get the Oreo shake anytime of day that I want. I always love that answer when the kids are like, I'll call them at 4 in the morning and I want an Oreo shake. I would assume it goes a little bit deeper than just the Oreo shakes.
Yeah,
but
I actually haven't tried the Oreo shake.
apparently they're available at any time of the day you want them.
Perfect. Save that info for next time. Yeah. One of my favorite things about Primary Children's is just the environment. I feel like it's such an awesome environment for patients to be in. It's always just happy, and their nurses are so caring. You never feel like, I don't know, kind of left out of your care. You're always very involved.
Yeah.
I like it a lot, yeah.
Well, I love what Primary Children's Hospital is doing with someone like you who was a patient at one time, and now they're bringing patients back. You can be part of a youth advisory council.
Yeah.
Share what that's about and how you're able to still impact what goes on at the hospital.
So it's a group of teens who have obviously, like you said, been already in the hospital. But we get together once a month to try to better the hospital. So we've worked on the menu even. And we've also done the teen room in the hospital. We helped design that quite a bit.
What's the teen room about then?
So I think it's on the 3rd floor. It's just kind of a place. There's some TVs, video games, crafts, and as long as you're a teen, obviously, you can go into the room, and it's just kind of a place you can chill out when you're in the hospital.
Decompress a little bit.
Find other people.
So you get to sit and chat with these other teens. How cool is it to be able to kind of just powwow and have and to kind of just make those decisions and say, hey, not only have we been here, but we can speak and kind of be advocates for kids that are our age.
Mm-hmm. It's super cool. I feel more involved, definitely, and I feel like I'm almost giving better advice because I've already been in the hospital, and same with all the other kids, so we kind of know what it's like and know how to improve.
I'm curious, how is this experience with the Youth Advisory Council? How is this maybe shaping what you want to do with your life moving forward now that you're trying to decide what you want to do?
Yeah, so I definitely want to go into medical.
Awesome.
I'm thinking of going into nursing up at BYU.
Wow.
Yeah, hopefully to work
cool.
at Primary Children's one day myself.
Okay, listen, so going into your senior year at Olympus, okay, tell me what kind of shenanigans we're going to get into the senior year because, listen, you've been a model student, I'm assuming. If you're talking about going to nursing at BYU, I mean, this is why it's so great because there are so many kids we chat with and you go, look, I have all these things that I have planned that I want to do. You have a very specific thing you have in your head. And so it's really cool for us to be able to watch local kids who have an impact already at the hospital. And then we ask people to make these donations. If you could ask somebody or tell somebody why it's such a big deal to make that donation today, what would you tell them?
I would just tell them, I feel like the donations are really what helps keep Primary Children's amazing attitude. I know they're volunteers. They have a lot of volunteers helping the kids, bringing a more positive environment. I feel like that definitely helps, and I'm glad that they can afford to do that or bring kids those little crafts they can do in their room. I'm glad they have the funding to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I think I would encourage people to donate so that more children in Primary Children's Hospital can have a better time.
And any time that people come in and somebody isn't able to pay, that is not part of the conversation. The care is number one. The child person always is what you see when you walk into the hospital. So we're asking people to do exactly that. Become a smile maker. Make that monthly donation starting today. Go to kslkids.com. Make that donation. And it helps, and there are so many people in our community. Marin is just one of those people, but so many of us have been impacted by the folks at Primary Children's Hospital, the care that's up there, and the goals that they have to accomplish as a hospital. So we love it. 801-KSL-KIDS is the number. That's 801-575-5437. Our KSL Sports Zone listeners show up and show people that, you know what, we have an awesome group of folks who listen to this station, who want to make a donation, want to be a part of this. Go to kslkids.com or call right now and get these volunteers going. I see them right over there. Let's make them pick up that phone, 801-801-5437. That's 801-KSL-KIDS. Marin, thank you so much. And we
Yeah,
Thank you, Marin.
Thanks for having me.
All righty, we'll take the break here. We'll come back. We've got more to go. Stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.